This is the journey of Bucky, a 13-year-old bay gelding living its life in the midst of a slumping horse industry in Ontario.
Bucky was born here, and we had him and raced him. And when he was 10 years old, by that time, horses, they don't race in conditioned races. They're just not, unless you've got a really good, exceptionally good horse, which Bucky never was.
Bucky was born here at M&M Trotter's Farm near Cobourg. Owner Rhonda Markle not only bred Bucky, but also trained him, raced him, and a few years back, sold him.
He got claimed on us for $10,000 at Kawartha Downs. He went to a trainer in Sudbury. He never made any money for anybody.
From there, Bucky was sold to a man in Michigan, and then eventually to an Amish family in Pennsylvania, where he served by pulling a buggy. But when the Amish no longer needed Bucky's services, he was sent to a slaughterhouse to go for meat.
A lady named Helen from New York phoned me up one day and said that he was in the slaughterhouse, and if I wanted him back, I would have to bail him out at $750.
The panel suggested that without revenue from the slots program, the horse industry in Ontario would simply die. Not only that, 7,500 to 13,000 horses would be killed simply because there would be nowhere for them to go. Markle was faced with a decision: spend money on rescuing a horse she hadn't seen in years, or let him die. She says the decision was easy.
At the time, we really, we didn't really want to spend $2,000 on a horse that, we hadn't seen for 3 years, but in the same token, we didn't want him to go for meat. And that's why we got him back.
Tweed native Daryl Drain has been involved in the horse industry for much of his life. He says it's in a fragile state right now.
The industry's definitely on a downward slide. We went from having a world-class industry to now up in the air if there even will be an industry in 5 years.
Conservative MPP for Northumberland Quinte West Rob Milligan says tens of thousands of jobs are at risk.
The thing is, there's 60,000 jobs in the province of Ontario that are directly related to horse racing industry, and and also the concern as well is with the breeders, and these are people who put millions of dollars into the local economy of Ontario annually, and they've already lost a breeding season. And of course, the other factor is, other than losing the 60,000 jobs, is what's going to happen to horses like Bucky. There's potentially 13,000 horses who are going to have to be euthanized.
A stranger to her for 3 years, Rhonda says Bucky's condition was night and day from when he had left the farm to the time he had arrived back. He was hungry and thin, so thin in fact that bones were sticking out. Markle admits it was an emotional day when Bucky finally came home.
When he got off that trailer, it was all you could do to hold on to the lead shank. And his old pal that he hangs out with, Mate, they were screaming at each other. Like, it was unbelievable.
Since the filming of this documentary, Markle did find Bucky a new home. A Norwood woman who had to put her old horse down last year was looking for one to keep her other horse company. Bucky now lives on a 130-acre farm with a mare that Markle says Bucky is in love with. As for Markle, she plans to visit Bucky and to keep in touch with his new owner. The Slots at Racetrack program in Ontario is still scheduled to be killed on March 31st of 2013.